Scaramucci on you then.
Scaramucci. Olav Shalom. It's got to be the fastest, shortest tenure ever. Okay, we are live. So, we're going to be discussing Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, which is one of the most famous Gemaras out there, and everybody learns it on Tisha B'Av, and hopefully we'll get a deeper insight into what exactly the Gemara is trying to accomplish, what it's telling us, etc., etc. I apologize to Justin in advance because some of these ideas he will have heard, but don't worry, I promise there will be some things new. So we're going to be beginning from the Sugya on Nun Hey on Beis by the two dots. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, "My dichsiv ashri adam mefachet tamidu makshei libo yipol b'ra'ah." What does it mean when it says in the pasuk in Mishlei and Proverbs that ashri adam mefachet tamid, praiseworthy is the person who is always afraid? Umaksha libo, and someone who hardens his heart, yipol b'ra'ah, he will fall in evil. What is this referring to? Says the Gemara, Kamtza Bar Kamtza charav Yerushalayim. On Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, Yerushalayim was destroyed. A Tarnagolta charav Tor Malka, the city of Tor Malka, which is a massive city. I mean, even according to like the small estimates, these cities had over 1 million people. So if you do the math in terms of what the world looked like at the time, that was just absolutely enormous. It's an unfathomable tragedy. And Tor Malka was destroyed over a rooster and a hen. And Asaka the Risbak Charav Beitar. And Beitar, which is also a horrific story because they left the carcasses out. It's just terrible. That was destroyed over an axle of a wagon. So, okay. The Gemara says, well, what does that mean? Kamtza Bar Kamtza Charav Yerushalayim. On Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, Yerushalayim was destroyed. First of all, little known fact, Kamtza means ant. The word Kamtza in Aramaic means ant. So over an ant and the son of an ant, Yerushalayim was destroyed. There was this guy, this dude. He's the main character of the story, and he's just a guy. I like to call him Fred. You can call him whatever you want. He was friends. He loved Kamtza. Kamtza was this good friend of his, and Bar Kamtza is this bitter enemy of his. Many people point out that it's incredibly possible that they were a father and a son, because it's Kamtza and Bar Kamtza, so it very well could be, but it's not necessarily so. Anyway, this guy, this Fred, Avad Su'udasa, he was making a party because that's what Jews like to do. Amar li l'shamei, and he said to his toady, he said to his page boy, Zil Aisili Kamtza, go get me my friend Kamtza. Ozal, Aisili Bar Kamtza. He sent the wrong email address. Went to the wrong guy. Also, and he came, Ashkechet Havi Yosef. So Fred shows up at his party, and who does he see there? Stinking Bar Kamtza, who he can't stand. I mean, he hates this guy. Amar Le says to him, excuse me, this guy is the enemy of this guy, meaning you are my enemy. I hate you. My boy Sacha, what are you doing here? Kum puk. Get up, get out. Amar Le, so Bar Kamtza says to him, well, hol vasai, since like I'm already here, Shafgan, leave me alone. I'll pay you for whatever I eat and drink. What's it already cost? It's Schnitz and Fritz. Was it $35 here? I'll pay you $45. Keep the change. I like to point out that if Bar Kamtza knows that he hates Fred and that Fred hates him, why did he go? It's a little bit strange that he showed up. If your worst enemy sent you an invitation to his party, you probably would not go. So it's possible that Bar Kamtza gets this in the mail and thinks to himself, wow, an olive branch, right? Fred is inviting me to his party despite the fact that we haven't spoken in 15 years ever since that business thing blew up, and now all of a sudden he's inviting me to the party. This is wonderful. And then, of course, he sits down, in walks Fred, and goes nuts and says, what are you doing here? Well, the second he says that, now what's Bar Kamtza thinking? Oh, you invited me to basically make a spectacle of me. You invited me because you thought that I would come so you could shun me in front of everybody. So I'm already here. So you're explaining to me that it's a mistake. Okay, well, guess what? I'm here. You know how embarrassing it is for me to get up and get out? Okay, fine, we have politics, you and I. But the whole shul is here. They don't have to know about our politics. Let me stay, and I'll pay you, and it'll be like it never happened. Tomorrow we'll go back to hating each other. Amar Le said to him, no. What did you not understand? I hate you. Get out. Amar Lei says, listen, I'll pay for half your party. Well, why? Why would he pay for half the party? Because it's humiliating. It's humiliating. And shame is a very powerful motivator. So we understand the psychology of this, right? You're there, you're at the Super Bowl, you're in great seats, you're in the box with all the coolest guys, and you realize it's a mistake and you're not really invited. And you've been glad handing the high rollers now for an hour. And now you're going to get kicked out. It's going to look terrible. You'll pay for half the box. I'm going to lay low. No. I'm going to lay, listen. I'll pay for the whole thing. I'm going to lay low. No. Not day. He grabbed him by the hand. He stood him up. And he threw him out. And again, the Gemara is telling you the steps of that so you'll understand this was not a, sir, please leave. This was a physical altercation. He grabbed him, he lifted him, and he chucked him out. Omar. So now Bar Kamtza says, since the rabbis were there and they didn't say, hey, come on, Fred, relax, chill, it's fine, make peace. Since they didn't say that, so then obviously they were fine with it. These rabbis are fine with it. I'm going to cause them some big trouble by ratting them out to the king. Ozal, he goes, Amar le Caesar, and he says to Caesar, Mardu bach Yehudai. The Judeans have rebelled against you. It might be advantageous to point out already at this point, because there's no reason to sort of drag that out and over-dramatize it. This is, you see the sinas chinam that Fred had for Bar Kamtza, and that's why this whole thing happened. That's a horrible shot. In my humble opinion, right? There's no sinas chinam here at all. That's projection. The Gemara here does not say anything about sinas chinam. It does not mention the word sinas chinam, and if you're reading that into the text, then you must have a very, very compelling reason to do so. In fact, why would you assume that he hates him for no reason? Who is this guy? Who is Bar Kamtza? Bar Kamtza is the guy that's going to destroy the world. I mean, he's not a good guy. He probably had a spectacular reason for hating Bar Kamtza. There's probably a long list of reasons for hating Bar Kamtza. But what do we know about Bar Kamtza? What do we know? We know he's very powerful. That's for sure. How do you know he's powerful? Because he can talk to Caesar. Now, I don't know if Caesar means the Caesar in Rome or if Caesar means the local Praetorian or the governor, whatever it is, because those terms are technically interchangeable. The Gemara uses it for generals and uses it for governors, but it's a person of power. It's a position of massive power. So Bar Kamtza is a chashuv guy. Not chashuv in the idea that he's a good guy, but he's a powerful guy. And the rabbis saw this and they didn't say anything. Why do you think the rabbis didn't say anything? Possibility number one, because they're jerks. The rabbis were all jerks. Right? That's possibility. It's unlikely. You can go that way. Another possibility is they were afraid of Fred. Maybe Fred is also a powerful guy, and that's why Bar Kamtza was so happy to be at Fred's party. And maybe the rabbis were in Fred's pocket, right? That's a possibility also. Or there's a simpler possibility. Again, I can't negate those two things as intellectual possibilities. But there is a third option, which is Bar Kamtza was a horrible person. He's a despicable person. The rabbis were totally fine with him throwing him out. They were clapping for throwing out Bar Kamtza. Very possible also. I don't know. I wasn't there. But certainly these can be, any of these could be what's going on here. What's interesting also, you find that Bar Kamtza's mental mechanics are very interesting. What does he say? Fred makes a fool of him. Fred embarrasses him, humiliates him in front of the whole community. And what does he say? What is his conclusion? I'm going to kill Fred. No! That's not his conclusion. His conclusion is, the rabbis were there, and they didn't do anything. I'm going to destroy the Jews. The psychology of that is fascinating. Bar Kamtza, who we know is a terrible person who's willing to destroy the entire nation, equates the nation with the rabbis. You understand that? He's saying, I will destroy the nation because the rabbis were okay with this. That means in the mind of Bar Kamtza, the rabbis are the nation. And the nation should be punished for the sins of the rabbis. Yes, I mean, it's not a political thing. Tell me, counselor.
Well,
Tell me what you don't like.
Well, it seems-
Maybe you're right. I don't know.
No, well, look, the rabbis are the leaders, right?
Not the political leaders, no.
No, leaders of the Jewish nation, right? I mean, they make laws, right? It's the rights of the Rabbanan, so they're
that's
how
true.
powerful. They, when a Yid has an issue of practicality or ethics, whatever, he would go to his Rav. So the Ravs are the people.
Are
right?
the people? They're the important
so
ones.
if the head is poisoned,
Then the
rest
trunk
will
is
follow.
poisoned too. That's an interesting point. First of all, it's true to a point, but it's much more true today than it was then, because the rabbis at that time had far less power than they have after the temple's destroyed. They had an entire political class, right? They had a federal government, and they had Kohanim. The rabbis were third on that totem pole. So you're right. They do have influence, but they didn't have the sort of what would you call it, official power that they got afterwards, subsequent to the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. They became much more powerful, ironically, than they were before.
Perhaps those were the guys he was concerned about being embarrassed in front of. In other words, Bar Kamtza, he hated him beforehand, and that was the actualization of what he was concerned about.
That he looked like a fool in front of the rabbis. That could be. That very well could be. Maybe those are the people that he's most worried about. That could be. Yeah. So he goes to Caesar. He says 3 words. Mardu bach Yudai. The Jews have rebelled against you. Amar lei. So Caesar says back to him, me, Amar. Who says? You say? Now again, Caesar talks to him. So whoever Caesar refers to, he's okay with him. But who says? You're about to cause a big challenge over here. Who says? Maybe someone you spoke to doesn't like me. That doesn't mean the Jews don't like me. Amar lei says to him, Shadalahu korban. Send them a sacrifice. Chosis imekarvin lei, and see whether or not they're going to sacrifice it. Now this makes a lot of sense, because if the Jews are living under Caesar, and Caesar sends a korban, even if they're pretending to like Caesar, if they really hate him, they're not going to bring his korban. Or at the very least, if they don't bring his korban, what does that show you about what they feel on the inside? It's like when you see all these people from other countries and they speak to the American press in English and they say one thing, and then they speak to their people in a different language, and it's the polar opposite. And that's the truth. The truth is what they say in their own language to their own people, not what they say to the BBC and CNN. That's obvious. Everyone knows that. Every 5-year-old knows that. So Caesar knows that also. Bar Kamtza says to him, watch. Send them a korban. They're not going to bring it. Once you go behind the walls of their temple, they're not your friend anymore. Okay. Ozal, he went, Shadar biyade egla tilsa, and he sends them this beautiful bull. Now, egla tilsa means a bull of a third, so whether it's 3 years old, whether it's the third from Ami, there's various understandings of what egla tilsa means, but suffice it to say that it's a very beautiful, majestic animal, and it's a worthy gift for Caesar to bestow upon a respected temple. This is a legitimate gift. Now, not so ironically, if you go all the way back to Bereshis and you look at, I don't know what to make of this, but I saw it today, and I highly doubt it's coincidental. If you go all the way back to Bereshis, during the covenant between the parts, the Bris Ben Habasarim, God tells Avram Avinu that he should take a few animals and cut them in half, and the first animal that he says to cut in half is Egla Mishuleshes. Now, Egla Mishuleshes is Hebrew for Egla Tilsa, right? It's the same animal. Now, what's interesting is if you look at the Dasakanim Balei Tosos, and I have it here, I wrote it down, the Dasakanim says as follows. God put this great sleep upon Avraham, and he showed him Shibud Malchios. He showed Avraham what his children were going to go through in subjugation to the other nations. Shenemar, as it says, Kecholi Egla Meshuleshes, Zu Malchus Revius, says the Dasakin Valei Tosos, when it says Egla Meshuleshes, this prize bull, this refers to the Malchus Reviis, the fourth kingdom. What's the fourth kingdom? Shehi Kasher, which is the worst of all. Well, what's the worst of all? What is he referring to? He's referring to Rome. So the Egla Meshuleshes refers specifically to Rome. Therefore, the fact that Caesar sends an Egla Meshuleshes at this time, I don't think is in any way, shape, or form coincidental. I don't know what to make of it. I'm just putting it out there. And Bahari de Ka'azil, while Bar Kamtza was taking this bull to the temple, Shada Beimuma Beniv Sfasayim, he made a blemish in the lip. The Amrila and other people say Bedukin Sheba'ayin, that it was in the eyelids. Duchta, which is a place, Dilididan Havamuma, to us, for us Jews, that is considered to be a blemish. Lididhu lo Havamumahu, Lavumahu, and to them, to the Romans, it's not considered a blemish. Now, what's this talk about blemishes? You can't bring an animal on the altar if it has a blemish. Well, what's a blemish? So Bar Kamtza is a savvy guy, right? He's a smart guy. He is going to make a blemish on an animal so the Jews won't accept it. But the Romans were like, what do you mean it passed the inspection? It must be that the reason that the Jews did not accept this animal is because they hate Caesar. Okay, now it turns out that according to the Romans, what would be considered a blemish? Rashi says, if it's missing a limb. If it's missing a limb, it's considered a blemish. So that means that Bar Kamtza could have taken a razor blade and cut it on the knee. And according to the Romans, it passes muster. The Jews would never have put that on the altar. So I find it strange that the Gemara has to go into the detail to tell you where exactly it is that he put the blemish. Again, I suspect that it probably speaks to a more fundamental disagreement between the Jews and the Romans at the time. Historically, the Romans did not attack Judea because of a sacrifice and an insult to Caesar. That's just not true. It's not true. And Chazal were there, so they knew that. They're not trying to create an alternate history. They're trying to explain to you what is happening, not how it happens. Yeah, I understand the guy with the big missile. He shot the missile and we all died. I know that. But how did it come to that?
Have they given prior sacrifices to Caesars? Have they given prior bulls?
Presumably, I don't know for a fact that they did, but I would think that they did because the Gemara has other stories about how they would even go to other cults. The Romans were very religiously tolerant at this point in time because that was good for business. So the Gemara talks about how one time they went to Pa'or and they were so disgusted by what they saw in Pa'or that they slaughtered everybody. But originally they were sent there to bestow goodness upon them and, to respect all of the local cultish customs, and that kept everybody happy, paying their taxes. It kept order. You didn't have war between the tribes. It was good for order. It was good on the highway. So they did that. So one way that you could interpret this is that the reason that the Gemara is saying specifically that it was either bedukin sheba'ayin or beniv sfasayim in the eyes, in the eyelids, or in the lips. That's telling you about a fundamental disagreement between the Romans and the Jews that pertains either to eyes or lips. You can do all sorts of things with that. It's not. I think it's beyond the purview of what we're doing here to postulate as to why. But chances are, it's more than just telling you where he drew the blood.
Who picked the bull?
Caesar gave the bull. Probably the head of Caesar's animals.
He gave the bull.
Yeah, he gave the bull. I mean, Caesar didn't open the closet and say, "Eeny, meeny, miny, shmo." He probably went to his guy and say, "Go get them a really good bull," and they did.
And in their perspective, all bulls are good except ones with a missing leg.
Well, for them, but Caesar would never send a scarred up bull as a gift to the temple because that would be beneath him.
Right, because I'm Caesar, I'm going to give you the best.
Yeah, you got to have a good bull.
So that'll explain why, for example, he wouldn't cut the knee because that would be visible, whereas the other was imperceptible to them, and they'll go, "Why?"
So you're saying they wouldn't even notice that?
Right.
They wouldn't even notice it. That's good.
And they would, and then that makes it. See, you get a perfectly good bull.
Right.
Legs are good, arms are good. I mean, arms.
Legs
I like
good. Right. 4 legs, hind legs.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds that would be right. Savar Rabbanan lekrovi mishum shlom malchus. So the rabbis were thinking we should sacrifice this bull because of peace with the monarchy. This is a very simple equation. Caesar's bull. What will happen if we insult Caesar? Jews are not fools. We should probably take this bull and make an exception.
Would they have made an exception for a chazer?
No, but they wouldn't have had to, because the king knows that you can't bring a pig.
Well, no.
The king thinks this is fine.
Well, no. Let's say he didn't know.
No, but then,
If he didn't know about the pig,
yeah.
there's
Do you still do it? You still sacrifice it?
Presumably not, because then
otherwise-
he's coming to do something
That's
that's
the same explanation that you give them that we can't take a pig, we can't take them with a karai.
Exactly. That's where I'm going with it.
right. So what Ariel's saying, which I think makes sense, is this is something that in their worldview is zero. It doesn't exist.
Right, but in their worldview, a pig is also acceptable.
No,
So,
it's
see,
not.
I
They know our
understand,
rules.
Like, here's our rule book.
Right.
And it says here that if it has a karai or
You can't take it.
the same
Right.
rule book that says no pig
Right.
says no karai.
Yes.
Right.
So why does it say that for us it's a mum and for them it's not a mum? I don't think it means for them it's not a mum to bring on their altar. It means if they're looking at our animal, they're going to say this is not a mum. Understand? It's one step beyond that.
But they obviously accept that this is our rule book plays here.
Right.
They're telling
Right.
you what your rule book says.
They're telling you. They're telling you we're reading your rules.
And there's
We're
nothing
reading
wrong.
your rules, and this, what I'm looking at, this is not a problem. You're doing this because you don't like me, and you're making excuses.
But where does
Yeah.
it say in our book that a move in the lip or in the eye nullifies it?
Um,
Or is that a discretionary? It's not written down.
Whether it's discretionary or not, what the Gemara seems to be saying is that they would not have interpreted it as a mum. The fact that we're saying, and the Gemara understands that, right? The Gemara says, to us it's a mum, to them it's not. It doesn't mean to them it's not for their God. It means to them it's not for our God. So it's when they look at it objectively in their, right, with their eyes, with their understandings, they would come to the conclusion that we're playing monkey business, which is why he did it in the first place.
Right, but
He's smart.
But like, who gave him Paskin power here?
Who gave him Paskin power?
Yeah.
It's not a question of Paskin power. It's a question of their perception. What are they going to think when we act this way? Will they think, oh yeah, that's reasonable to them? That's a mum. We know that they don't eat. We know that they only eat kosher. We know that they're strange vegan people who eat lots of cholent. You know, they get that. They get that. So Bar Kamtza knows that as well, and therefore he specifically picks something that to the objective bystander is nothing. It's not there. So they say, okay, well, let's bring it. Amar lahu Rabbi Zachariah ben Avkulis. So Rabbi Zachariah ben Avkulis, who was the head of the Sanhedrin, he said back to them, you can't do that. You can't bring it on the altar. Yomru bali mum craven legam mizbeach. The people are going to say that you could bring an animal that has a mum. I mean, that's inconceivable. You can't have that. We can't bring the animal. Okay, well, there's another option. What else can we do? We can shoot Bar Kamtza in the face and then tell the Romans that thank you so much for your beautiful sacrifice. It was great. You could do that also. Hit him in the head with a stick. So Savar Lemigdale. So they thought, well, let's kill him. Delo lezo velema. He won't go and tell on us that we didn't actually bring it.
But how do they know that there's a conspiracy going on? All they see is him bringing in the bull
Right.
from Caesar. You know, I mean, they would have to have known. First of all, how did they know that he's going to poke the eye out or not?
They didn't.
Whatever. Okay.
You saying how the rabbis know?
Or the Sanhedrin or whomever.
They see what's going on, right?
How do they see?
They know the guy. This is the guy coming with the bull from Caesar with the poke after the party thing. He's all over page 6.
So they're just saying
They know it's Bar Kamtza.
that he's the
Well,
one
they're making an
that's
assumption. There's no way to know for sure. Unless
Right.
you cut it.
Right, but they know. They see what's happening, right? They see what's happening.
Playing the odds.
Yeah, they see what's
Okay,
happening.
playing the
They see
odds.
what's happening. It's
But-
clear to them what's happening.
All right, but let me ask you this:
There was
That-
collusion.
How far is Caesar from town? So to speak?
Very far.
Very far.
Very, very far.
So he doesn't know about the party.
No.
He didn't know about it.
No.
Some guy came to him and said the Jews are
The
repellent.
Bar Kamtza's his boy. They play poker and cigars twice a year.
So it's obvious to Sanhedrin and the rabbis
Yeah,
that
so
this
they
guy
know
is
it's this
full of shit.
guy. They know it's this guy. They say, let's kill him. So he won't tell. He won't make any problems. We'll kill him. We'll tell the shluchim of Caesar, thank you very much. Crazy Yishkayach. The Mizbeach is very happy, and you move on.
Now, the issue of letting everybody know that, oh my God, they took a non-kosher or
Right.
thing. Actually, who will know that? Pragmatic.
Who would know?
Yeah.
Right? Who would know?
From a Sanhedrin point of view.
Uh-huh.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with this. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, as you know, when it comes to jurisprudence, right? Sometimes it's what will they say? Well, who's they? They is a theoretical construct. They isn't necessarily any particular they, which we're going to see. We're going to see what the Gemara says.
All right.
This is let's kill him. Amalahu Rabbi Zechariah. Rabbi Zechariah says back to the same people, Yomru, Mato, Mumbakachim, Yehareg. If you kill him, then people are going to say that if you make a blemish in a carbon, you get the capital punishment. And that's not true either. So you can't bring it on the altar, because then people are going to think that you can take blemished animals and put them on the altar.
They knew, but the rest of the world didn't know who he was.
How would the rest of the world know?
We're not going to kill him,
Right.
Because we're afraid people are going to say that if you make him mum, we're going to kill him.
Right.
So that means everyone else doesn't realize that this guy's, a troublemaker.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now, so look what Rabbi Yochanan says. Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says.
Not so plausible, right? I mean,
Listen.
only the rabbi's always a troublemaker?
I agree. And Rabbi Yochanan, I think, agrees with you also. Rabbi Yochanan says, "An v'sonuso shel Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkulis," the meekness, the weakness of Rabbi Zechariah, hechriva es beisenu, destroyed our house, our temple, the sarfa es hechalenu, and burned down our courtyard, our shul, v'iglisonu me'artzenu, and exiled us from the land. Meaning, what are you worried about? Who's going to know? Who's going to see that we put the thing? Who's going to see? 2 Kohanim that are there, you bring them to the corner. You're like, hey, dude, this is Caesar's bull. Shh. What's the big deal? You kill Bar Kamtza. People are going to say, oh, yeah, Mato Mum Bekachim Yaharig. No. People who try to commit treachery against the state, we kill them. But the guy in the ivory tower, Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkulis, the guy in the ivory tower, is not looking at the situation. He's not looking at the forest. He's looking at trees. So he says, you can't do this. Because if you do this, people might say something. They might get the wrong idea. You can't have people getting the wrong idea. That doesn't work out for me. And I said, okay, well, we have another practical solution. It's a practical solution. Can't have a practical solution. People are going to get the wrong idea about that. They might get the wrong about this, and they might get the wrong idea about that. Says Rabbi Yochanan, the weakness of Rabbi Zechariah destroyed everything. Shadar alayu l'Nero and Caesar. They sent Nero after them. Kikaasi, as he was coming, Shadagir leMizrach, he shot an arrow to the east, also Nafa Birushalayim, and it landed towards Jerusalem. Lemarav, also Nafa Birushalayim. He shot one to the west, and also towards Jerusalem. La'arba Ruchas Hashemayim, he shot him in all the directions, also Nafa Birushalayim. It doesn't matter where he shot them, they ended up pointing to Yerushalayim. Now listen, this is well known that pagans, before they would go to any campaign, they would do their magic stuff. That's what you do, right? You got to go to the oracle. You have to do the gizzards and the bones and the calf knuckles, whatever it is, and then you have to check the omens. So he's checking the omens, and never before in his life did the omens line up like this. These omens were way too clear. Usually there's some interpretation. If the omens keep coming out on like the same card every single time, even if you're a pagan, you start getting a little weirded out. Amalei Yanukas, he goes over to a kid, because a kid is objective. A kid's not thinking about, the political implications of what he's going to say. He goes over to a kid, Psokli Psukecha, tell me, what'd you learn in school today? Amalei says to him, it's a pasuk from Yechezkel, V'nosatiyas nikmasi be'edom b'yad ami Yisrael. That God says he's going to put the vengeance of Edom in the hand of the Jews, meaning the Jews are going to come and smash Edom being Rome. Amar, God wants to destroy his house, and he wants to wash his hands on me. God is clearly manipulating the events, and he wants me to be he wants me to be Pharaoh, right? What happened to that guy? God does everything, and he's going to smack me. No way. Orak, he defected. V'azal, and he left the Geyer, and he converted to Judaism. V'nafak minei Rabbi Meir, and Rabbi Meir came out of him. Now, first of all, if you look again historically, there's no historical evidence outside of the Gemara that Nero converted to Judaism. There is, however, historical evidence that he killed himself after he, quote, went crazy. There are people out there on the interwebs who say that, if he converted to Judaism, that is what the Roman Senate would have considered to be went crazy. So it is a possibility. It's also very possible he didn't tell anybody. Anyway, so in any event, he did eventually kill himself. That we know for sure. And the Gemara is telling us that, great, and Rabbi Meir came from him. there are two ways that you can look at this. One way is, he did such a wonderful thing that God gave him a reward, and he had a very important descendant, someone who was a giant like Rabbi Meir. That's one possibility. I find that hard to believe. I think that the only reason that the Gemara would put it here is because it's relevant to the story. It has to be that this is somehow relevant to the story that we're reading right now.
Oh, maybe because he didn't attack, let the person who gave progeny to Rameir live. So it kind of like came from him, but not biologically, but through his actions.
But Rameir wasn't alive yet.
That's right.
Yeah, Rameir is at least probably 30, 40 years later after this.
Because he was supposed to attack, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Right.
So
and
ostensibly, if he attacked, he would have killed people.
Right.
Could have killed the grandfather of Rameir.
Oh, you're saying that it wasn't from him, it was from the fact that but someone else came and did all the killing anyway. Right? They just switched heads. Like, you're not going to go, we're going to get someone else to go. And they did. So, Shadre Alayu, La Aspasinus, he sent Vespasian. Caesar Vespasian. Again, he wasn't Caesar at the time, but he's a general, so he's Caesar. Also, Tsar Shani. He came and laid siege to Yerushalayim for 3 years. Havu Bahano Tilsa Atiri. There were 3 very rich people in Yerushalayim. Nakdim ben Gurion, ben Kalva Savua, ben Tzitza Keses. These were the 3 very, very rich people. The Gemara talks about why they're called that. Okay. So, Chad Amrlu once says to them, Ona Zainalu Bechiti Visari, I am going to put up the money for all the Jews in this city on wheat and barley. I'm going to feed them. I will give them wine and salt, umishkan oil. I will give the firewood. And the rabbi said, wow, the greatest, the most generous was the one who said the firewood. Why? You'd think that it's much better to have food and oil and salt and preservatives than it is to have firewood. The Rav Chisda called it klidi hava masla shamei bar mitzivi. Rav Chisda would give all of the keys to his storehouses to his what do you call it? His little shamish boy. What do you call it? His toady. He would give it to his toady, his maid, except for the key to the firewood. Rav Chisda akaba dechiti, because Rav Chisda said on 1 kav, a kav is a measurement, so say it's a pound. For 1 pound of wheat, in order to prepare it, bon shisin akaba detzivi, you need 60 pounds of firewood. That's the conversion rate. So it was very, very expensive. Havalu amazing esrim bechad shat. They had enough to last 21 years. Now, there's no such thing as a 20-year siege. There's no such thing anywhere as a 20-year siege for a very simple reason. You'll go bankrupt. You will bankrupt your national treasure to lay siege on a foreign power for 20 years. You can't do it. So it was Havu Bahu Ahu Bar Yoni. In the city, there were those Bar Yonim. Bar Yonim, these are they're zealots, strong bully people. Amrul Rabbanan. Rabbanan said to them, Nepuk v'navid shamu bahadayu. Let's go make peace with the Romans. Lo shafkinu, they didn't let them. Amrulhu Nepuk v'navid krava badayu. The Bar Yonim said, let's fight. Let's kill these Romans. We're not afraid of these Romans. It's funny to point out, everybody hears this, stupid Jews, right? Right. Because obviously you and I have a much better appreciation for the power of the Roman military than the Jews living at the time, right? For whatever reason, these Bar Yonim thought that they could attack and beat the Roman Empire. They thought that. Amru Rabbanan lo mastay milsa. The Rabbanan said, you're not going to win. It's not going to work. Kamu, they got up. Kalnuhu lahano ambari dechiti visari. They burned the storehouses of the wheat. They burned it. Why? Simple. The rabbis want peace. How do you sue for peace? By sending a letter, a paper airplane, over the gate to the Romans saying, guys, we have food for 21 years. You want to talk terms or you want to wait? Romans want to wait? No problem. I'll send you another paper airplane in 2 years. They burn the storehouses. Why they burn the storehouses? To force a fight. If the Jews inside the city don't have any food, the only way to get food is to be able to get out of the city. And the only way out of the city is to attack the Romans. V'hava kafna. And there was a famine. There's no food. Marta bas Baitus asirta d'Yerushalayim havia. Marta, daughter of Baitus, was one of the richest gals in Jerusalem. Tons of money. Shadrasa l'shlucha. So she sent her servant, v'amrale, and she said, Zil aisili smida. Go buy me some top-level Zach the Baker bread. The Ozal is davein. He went there. He went shopping. Also, he came. Amrale, he said, Smida leka chiyor ta'ika. You know, I went to the market, mistress. I went to the market, and there's no Zach the Baker left. You can only get Annie's challah. Okay, so Amrale, she said, Zilaisi li, go bring me the Annie's challah. The Ozal is davein. He goes looking. Also, he comes back. Amrale chiyor ta'leka gushka ra'ika. He comes back, he goes, they don't have Annie's challah either, they only have Meal Mart. Out of Annie's challah now? Okay, I'm related to him, Zilaisili, go get me the Meal Mart. The Ozal is davein, Asava Amrala, Gushkar Leka, Kimcha Desari Ika. Comes back, he says, they're out of Meal Mart now. Now they only have the Ezekiel bread. Ugh. They only have the stuff for very poor people and people on diets. That's it. Nobody else eats that. Barley bread. Amrale, she said, Zilaisili, go get. The Ozil is davein. When he went to go buy, have a shlifa masana. She was putting on her shoe. Amran, she said, Epok ve'echzi, like, I gotta go find something to eat. This is crazy. I can't believe this. Esiv loparta bakara umesa. And she walked outside and stuck her foot in dung. She stepped in a cow pie and died from the shock of it. Like her foot had never touched excrement before in her life. This was a woman who lived in the lap of luxury. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai brings the verse from Kisavo in Devarim that talks about how the most finicky people in the world are going to have the most terrible experiences. Now, Ika da Amri, there are those that say, Grogeris de Rabbi Tzadok ochla vit nisa umesa. The fig of Rabbi Tzadok she ate, and it was so disgusting that she died. Who's this Rabbi Tzadok guy? Why is she eating his figs? That's weird. The Rabbi Tzadok Yosef Arbon Shnin B'ta Nisa the Lo Lecharav Yerushalayim. This Rabbi Tzadok had fasted for 40 years, right? It's like the ultimate Ramadan. He fasted for 40 years in order that Yerushalayim should not be destroyed. Ki hava ochel midi, when he would eat something, hava mitzchazi me'abroi. You could see it from the outside. He was so emaciated. He was like a Schindler's List extra. V'chi hava bari, and when he was getting rejuvenated and recuperating, Maisile Grogeris, they would bring him these figs. Mayitz Maihu, he would suck out just the liquid. He couldn't actually handle, a fig. He couldn't eat a fig. He didn't have the capacity in his innards to eat a fig. So he would suck out just the juices of the fig, Vishadilu, and throw it. And now this Martha Bat Baisu is the only thing she could find that wasn't eaten was one of the figs, the sucked out gross, I think to begin with figs, but of Rabbi Tzadok. And she eats that out of necessity, and she's so overcome by vile nastiness that she dies. Now, it couldn't have been a sudden death, because the Gemara says, Ki havanicha nafsha, when she was dying, it means that there was clearly it may have been like a heart attack or whatever, but it must have taken some time, because while she's dying, afikta l'kol dava v'kaspa, she starts taking out all her gold and silver and just like throwing it on the floor. Shadise b'shuka. She threw it in the market. She's just throwing it on the floor. Amr, she said, Haila my boily. What do I need this for? You can't. It's the old Native American proverb. Only when the last tree is cut down and the last river dries up and the last fruit is consumed will people understand that they can't eat money. So now she's at that point. There's nothing to buy. You can't eat anything. Can't eat your gold. So she's throwing it out. She goes, I need this. And that's what it means in Yecheskel when it says Kaspan Bachutzos Yashlichu. They're going to throw their money into the corners. Now, Abba Sakra Reish Bar Yoni di Rushlaim Bar Achte de Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. The head of these zealots, these bully guys, happened to have been the nephew of Rabban Yochanan. Who's Rabban Yochanan? Rabbi Yochanan is the guy that started this whole thing. Rabbi Yochanan is the guy that started this whole piece of Gemara by saying, what does it mean when it says Ashrei Adam Mefachei Tamid? We're dealing with the same Rabbi Yochanan, presumably.
So he wanted to fight?
No. His nephew was a captain of the fighters. Shalach le, and he said, Tobit sina legaboy, come to me quietly, come to me in secret. Thus he came. Amalei said to his nephew, Ad emas avdisu hachi vekatlisu leila alma bekafta. How long are you going to keep this up and kill everyone with starvation? Looks at his nephew in the face. He says, Bubby, you're killing everybody. Everyone's dying. How long are you going to keep this up? It's over. Amalei says, my Yovid, what can I do? His nephew, who was a captain of these people, had gotten to the point where finally he realizes that his uncle is right. You can imagine they love each other. This is an uncle and a nephew, and they're having political discussions around the family table. And the nephew is saying, we got to fight. And the uncle is saying, no, peace. I mean, we can imagine this, right? Should we go to war? Should we not go to war? I mean, we deal with this on a day in and day out basis. Now he understands. So what can I do? If I say anything, Kaluli, they're just going to kill me. You're talking about zealots. What does the Taliban do when you say to them, perhaps underage brides are not a good thing? Off with your head. Amarle, he said, I can see maybe one thing that I can do. The Apuk, if you can get me out, Efshar Dahavi Hatzala Porta. Maybe there could be a little bit of a salvation. Amarle, he says, Nikot Nafshecha B'Ktsiri. Send out on Facebook that you're very sick. Let everybody know that you're very ill. Let everybody come to your house and ask how you're doing. How's the Rabbi? How's he feeling? Is he okay? Then take something that really reeks. Take like a dead cat. The Agni Gabach, and hide it. Like stick it in your robe. Let everybody say that you died. And you smell. And make sure that the people that are holding your coffin are your students. Don't let anyone else be a pallbearer, because they're going to know that you're lighter. Everybody knows that the dead are heavier than the living. Abadachi did that. And he's got his two trusted students, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. When they got to the gate, Bo Lemid Kirei. In classic Army 101. Is that a corpse? I have a very easy way of seeing whether or not it's true. I'm going to stab it. If it's already dead, you won't mind if I stab it. Let me stab your corpse. Amar Lahu said to them, Yomu Rabban Dakru. I'm going outside the gates. What are the Romans going to think when they see the dead rabbi with the sword wound? They're going to say you killed your rabbi, which shows you that even the Bar Yonim with their misguided political philosophies would not for a second allow the Romans to think that they stabbed Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai. That they wouldn't do. Okay, so Amar Lahu, Bo Lemid, so let's push him around. And Amrlu, Yomru Rabban Dakfu. You're pushing around your rabbi's corpse? That's who you are? Okay, fine. Possibly Baba. So they opened the door, and he went out. Kimata Lahasam, he walks to the Roman lines, and he says, hi, I'm Rabbi Yochanan. I would love to see Vespasian. When he gets there, he says to him, Shamalach Malka, Shamalach Malka. Ah, hello, your majesty. Hello, your majesty. Well, you see, this is a problem. Amarle, immediately Vespasian says back to this guy, to this rabbi that he's never met before, Mechayves Trey Katlo. I have to kill you twice. You have committed 2 capital punishments. First of all, Delav Malka Ano, I am not a king. Vikokaris li Malka. And you're calling me a king, right? Well, if you call me a king and I'm not a king because Caesar's king, then you're calling someone other than Caesar king, and that's why they killed Jesus. Right? You're not king of the Jews. Emperor is king of the Jews. Yeah? So can't do that. Visu, and furthermore, Imalka Anna, if you're going to say, no, you're considered a king in our language, we mean very big personage. Ada idna my lo asis legaboy. Why have you waited so long in coming to pay homage to me? Amar lei, so Rabbi Yochanan says back to him, the fact that you said I'm not a king, Ibra Malka'at, you're gonna be a king. Di lav Malka'at, because if you're not a king, lo mimsara Yerushalayim biyadcha, there's no way that Jerusalem is going to be given over to, a little stable boy. There's just no way. It says in Yeshayahu, Levanon ba'adir yipol, that the Lebanon, the Lebanon, will fall to the mighty. Ve'ein adir elamelach. When it says mighty, it means a king. As it says in Yirmiyahu, v'haya adir mimenu. Ve'ein Lebanon el Beis HaMikdash. And the Lebanon refers to the Beis HaMikdash. Shenemar hara tova zeva ha'Lebanon. So first of all, you're going to be a king. And the fact that you said, well, if I'm a king, why haven't you come until now? We have internal problems. These crazy madmen wouldn't let me out. So this Paisin's a clever guy. He says, really? Let's say you had a lovely barrel with honey in it, and there's a dragon on it. Okay, you got this big snake, this dangerous animal that's sitting on top of it. You wouldn't smash the thing in order to get rid of the problematic snake. The idea being, you have bad people, I can help you with the bad people. Just open up one of the gates, torch the wall. I'll come in and I'll mop up for you. What are you worried about? It's a wall? You're worried about losing the honey? You're worried about some people that'll die? You have a major issue. These people are causing a war with Rome. Ishtik. He didn't respond. Rabbi Yochanan didn't respond. Kari ali Rav Yosef, Rabbi Akiva or Rav Yosef said about the fact that Rabbi Yochanan was quiet, the pasuk in Yeshayahu, Meishiv chacham machor v'dai tam yisachal. God has made the wise foolish. Meaning, they're saying Rabbi Yochanan made a mistake by not responding. He should have said to him, Shaklinan savsa, v'shaklinan le l'darkon, v'katlinan le, v'chavisa shaklina, v'chavisa shavkinan la. No, if you have a snake on top of a barrel of honey, you find a way to kill the snake without destroying the barrel. Okay, so why didn't Rabbi Yochanan say that?
How does that trump his argument anyway? He would say, yeah, I'm open the gate peacefully. I don't destroy anything.
Well, they hold the gate, presumably. The only way to open the gate is torching it. You can't open it because
how did he get out?
They let him out because he was dead. He had to do this whole masquerade.
They're saying in order to get back in.
No, he's saying instead of doing this whole thing to get out, just throw a piece of fire at a place on the wall. Let that part of the wall burn down. We'll come in. We'll get rid of those people.
Well, so why can't they throw a piece of fire on that wall and do the same thing?
Oh, you could. But when you're on the outside trying to come in, they're shooting arrows and boiling water. The Romans were trying to get in. It's very hard to get in a wall. If you're on the inside, the Bar Yonim aren't worried that you're going to knock down a piece of the wall, and they weren't. So he's saying, knock down a piece of the wall. Let us in.
He's also chastising you. You're saying you didn't come out because of these bad
right,
people.
And you should have.
You should have come out and
break the wall.
If you lose the wall in the process of destroying these people that are coming out to me, big deal.
Right. And he's quiet. Now why is he quiet? Dude, you don't know the situation. I'm telling you we can't. Right? They're holding all the cards. These guys have all the weapons. They're patrolling the lanes. Whatever. It's like, I can't do it. So you say, well, you should have cut it. You weren't there. But there's nothing to say. There's nothing for him to say. So he doesn't say anything. Adahachi, while this is happening, Asi Pristika, Le Miromi. All of a sudden, a raven comes from King's Landing. Amarle, and it says, Kum, arise! The Misle Caesar has died. Va'amri ano chashivi de Romi, and the Senate of Rome has said, Lo sivach beresha, to make you the Caesar. Look at that. Rabbi Yochanan was right. Havasayim chad misani. And he had one shoe on. He had just put on one shoe. Ball and he tried to put on his other shoe. Lo ayil, it wasn't going on. He couldn't get his other shoe on for some reason. So okay, there must be something wrong with these shoes, even though I've been wearing them for 3 years. Ball and mishlafol idach. He says, well, I'll take this one off. He tries taking that one off. Lo nafak, it wouldn't go off. That's so strange. Amar says, my high. What's this? I've never had this problem where one of my shoes was stuck on my foot and the other one wouldn't go on. Omar Le, Rabbi Yochanan says back to Vespasian the strangest thing in the world. Lo titzar, don't worry. Shmua tova asyalach. You got a good tidings. Shenemar shmua tova tadashin etzem. It says in Mishlei that when you have a good tiding, your bones expand. So clearly, the tiding was so good that your bones have expanded so much that you can't even get that shoe off and you can't get that shoe on. You ever read this Gemara and wonder why is Vespasian having one shoe off and one shoe on in a discussion with Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai? Just like out of curiosity. That's a really weird thing. But it's much weirder. You know why it's weirder than that? It's the second time in the Gemara that someone's putting a shoe on. It's the second time in this Gemara. Where's the first time? Martha Basbais is putting her shoes on also. Everybody's putting their shoes on. It's a really weird thing, right? It's a really weird Gemara. You have to admit it's really weird. So, okay, well, what am I going to do? I mean, I got I got 2 fat feet, and I'm stuck, right? Elamai takante, what should you do? Leise inish delo misva daitach mine. Bring someone that you don't like. V'lechlif kamach. Let him just like walk in front of you. It says, because a bad wind, you get like a bad vibe by somebody, and that'll make your bones shrink. Oh, but how he did it? And it worked. Amarle. So he says to Rabbi Yochanan, if you're so smart, why haven't you come to me yet? Amarle says to him, haven't I already told you why? Amarle, he said back to him, I also told you why. Seriously, that's in the Gemara? Again, the same conversation? I can't believe you're so smart. You couldn't believe I was so smart 10 minutes ago. All of a sudden now I know a shoe trick. Now you're really smart. Well, I thought before you could get out, but now that I know that you know the shoe trick, now you for sure could have dealt with these baryonim. No, but I told you. Yeah, but I told you. I mean, that's crazy, right? That doesn't make any sense. So, I think that this shoe thing is symbolic. It doesn't necessarily mean actual shoes. I think that changing a person's shoes is almost you have a similar expression in English where we say that you have to stand in somebody's shoes. Your shoes, standing in the shoes, is your worldview. The reason that Martha Bas Baisus is changing her shoes to go outside is because she's literally changing her shoes to go outside. She has gone through every single possible level of food, and she can't believe that this is happening. I mean, this is a woman who has never set foot on a street. She can't believe it. She's changing her shoes. Now you have this Roman. He just got tidings that he's the emperor of Rome now. He's the emperor of Rome. And it's fascinating because, again, historically, after Nero deposed himself, after Nero left, you had 4 emperors in 1 year. You had all these wars going on. And then the Senate chose him. So it's like, oh my gosh, wow. Like his life changed to such an extent that that yesterday doesn't make any sense. A minute ago doesn't make any sense. I'm totally a new person now. I can't get my other shoe on. But on the other hand, I can't bring that with me and I can't go forward. I'm stuck. So what does Rabbi Yochanan tell him? Yochanan says, no problem. I understand you've had this unbelievable tiding, and therefore you can't relate to the former you, and that's bothering you. I understand that. No problem. Here's what you do. Take a guy you don't like and let him walk in front of you. And you'll see that no matter what changes you, you're still the same. If the guy that you don't like, he walks in front of you, you just won the lottery, you still don't like him. You still don't like him. And it works. Now, fascinatingly, Vespasian was famous as an emperor. He was famous for allowing people to say very bad things about him and letting them live. He's the one who has been quoted 1 billion times since then, but he wrote a letter to one of these philosophers that he had exiled who was talking smack about him. He's like, yeah, you're a rabid dog, but I'm not going to have you put down. Okay, you can say bad things about me. So he understood the idea of, yeah, you'll bother me, but I'm not gonna kill you. He may have learned that from Yochanan ben Zakkai, but the difference is the reason that the Gemara is repeating the conversation is because initially you're a smart guy. You're a smart guy. You figured out a masquerade to get out. You should have figured out a better way to get us in. Now he realizes that the wisdom of Rabbi Yochanan goes far, far beyond a smart guy. He understands the depths of human psychology. He understands why Vespasian is having this emotional reaction to that.
What was his purpose again?
What was his?
To go out to meet the quote the emperor.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, well, he's out.
Hasn't said yet, has he? He said maybe there will be a little bit of a salvation. We're going to see right now. We're getting to the very end of this Gemara. Amar le. So now Vespasian says to Rabbi Yochanan, Mezel azilna, I have to go now. I'm going to Rome. I'm going to be sitting in the palace. They're going to send someone else. And they do. They send his son, whose name was Titus. So, I'm already here. You've impressed me. You've won my favor. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Amalei says to him, Ten li Yavne v'chachamel. Give me Yavne and its wise men. Give me the yeshiva. V'shushota d'Ram Gamliel. And give me the line, don't kill out the Gamliel family, who were the Nesiim. And a physician, give me one of these excellent Roman physicians that I keep hearing about, to heal Rabbi Tzadok, the guy with the figs. The same Gemara. The Gemara's like, what are you, crazy? What a fool! What a fool! We were talking about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, yeah? He said, what a fool! God made him into a fool. Why? He should have said, L'shavkinu hadazimna. He should have said, you know what? Just leave us alone and forgive the whole thing. So the Gemara of he was saying, Dilmakuli hailo avad. Vespasian wasn't about to take the 3 legions that he had there, turn around and go home. That wasn't going to happen. And then you wouldn't have anything in the end. You would have ended up with absolutely nothing.
You're jumping to conclusions there.
Yeah, well, this is the Gemara is saying that's why he didn't. If you're negotiating,
yeah, but that's just it. That makes no sense. You say, look, would you mind just
leaving? I know you've invaded the country. It's got $1 billion.
Interpreting the dreams, and he gets what he wants. Yeah. So he says, look, I just made you emperor. You didn't know it. I just made you emperor, right?
Right. Now, would you kindly leave? Go home.
Why don't you just leave?
Yeah. So, Rabbi Akiva agrees with
you. You know I can't do that. What else do you want? All right, well, if you can't do that, then go into that. I mean, why not? I mean, that really makes
you don't like his negotiating tactics. Neither does Rabbi Yosef or Rabbi Akiva. They agree with you. Well, they think that he was foolish. The Gemara is saying that he said that if you do that, it's so obnoxious. You're asking for so much that he's going to say, you know what, you're way out of it, and you're not going to give him anything. That's what he was saying. You know, what would have been, that I don't know, but that's what it says. But it's interesting also because why are these the 3 things that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asks for? Why does he ask for that? If you give me Yavne, the Chachamim, well, he's a rabbi, right? Give me the yeshiva, that's kind of, I saw that coming a mile away. Give me the Gamliel family, give me the Nesiim, who are going to somehow help you as exilarchs, as a Reish Galusa, they'll help you in the battle, maybe, and then give me heal Rabbi Tzadok, who's been fasting for 40. Maybe Rabbi Tzadok should have had a sandwich every once in a while. That's what you're going to save the one guy? Really? That's what you ask? It's very strange. So remember, Rabbi Yochanan is the guy who started this whole Gemara, and we're going to end with this. We're going to conclude. But if Rabbi Yochanan is the guy who started the whole thing, what was it that he said? This Gemara is not talking about saddest. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow at noon about saddest. That's not what this Gemara is about. This Gemara is a very simple equation. Ashrei Adam Mefached Tamid. Praiseworthy is the guy who's always afraid. Meaning what? Rabbi Yochanan is the same guy that says the meekness of Rabbi Zechariah destroyed the temple. You were so afraid of what they're going to say? What were you not afraid of? Atomic bombs. What were you not afraid of? The Roman army. What were you not afraid of? The whole city dying in starvation. That you weren't afraid of. You're right. It was pathetic. Bar Kamtza is a terrible person. He's a turd muffin. He deserves to die 100%. 100%. And you're at the party and you're so happy. But you know what you weren't thinking at the party? You know he plays poker with Caesar, right? You know he plays poker with Caesar. So you're so happy that we're going to toss him out that you're very good. Because of that, you're all dead. Ashrei Adam Mefached Tamid. This whole thing happened. This Gemara is not saying what sins caused it. This Gemara wants to know what mistakes led to it. What political mistakes led to it? Look at the stories. What's Martha Bat Baisus' problem? Same problem. Go get me Zach the baker. Guy comes back. There's no Zach. There's only Annie's. Okay, go get me Annie's. What never occurs to her to say? Get me whatever they have. Never occurred to her to say that. Why not? Because why would that be? That's never happened before. Why would I think that they're out of Zach the baker or Annie's or Meal Mart or Ezekiel bread? Never considered that possibility. Never considered the possibility that you're right. I can't kill Bar Kamtza, but now they're going to kill the entire city. Never occurred to him. So what does Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, what does he ask for? Unbelievable. You're not going to have a Beis HaMikdash. He knows that. He knows that. It's over. It's over. So you have 3 centers of power in the Jewish Republic. You have the king, you have the Kohen, and you have the Rabbanan. You're about to lose both of those 2. Tein li yavne v'chachameha. What's going to keep the Jews for this exile? He sees it coming. What's going to keep them? You don't have a land or a government or an autonomous state. You don't have a Beis HaMikdash. You're only going to have one thing. Torah. That's all you're going to have. That's why the Torah wasn't given Eretz Yisrael to begin with. Right? I mean, really simple question. Like anyone who's not a Jew would ask the question. Jews don't ask the question because it's obvious. Yeah, we got the Torah in the desert. Why would you get the Torah in the desert? You're supposed to get the Torah in Israel. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah. What are you giving a Torah in a desert for? It's really strange. The answer is because most of the time it's going to be accompanying you outside of the land. Torah is not just for the land. Torah is the only thing you're going to have. Ein lanu shiur rak haTorah hazos. It's the only thing we have. So first, tein li yavne v'chachameha. Secondly, give me the family of Rabban Gamliel. Why? Because they're Davidic. Give me the Shalshelas HaMelucha. Give me the return of the king. Okay, so I know that for the next 2,000 years, they're going to have to be rangers running around in the north. That's fine. That's fine, but they'll come back. Give me the Shalshelas HaMelucha. Third thing, give me Rav Tzadok. Why? Rav Tzadok fasted for 40 years. It was in the beginning of the Gemara. Why was he fasting for 40 years? He's fasting for 40 years so that Jerusalem won't be destroyed. 40 years. I thought it was destroyed because there was a party with Bar Kamtza. Why are you fasting 40 years? Because he saw it coming 40 years ago. He saw it coming. Ashrei Adam Mefache Tami. That's the guy we need to save. That's the guy we need. We need the guy that sees where it's going. If Rabbi Zechariah would have seen where it was going, it never would have happened. If the people at the party would have seen where it was going, it never would have happened. So the 3 things that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asks for, he calls it a Hatzalah Porta, a little salvation. Why is it a little salvation? Because it's not a salvation for now. It's a salvation for later. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai saved the Jews for another day. And if you look at the Gemara, it's actually very interesting because the Iboy Lemeimar, Rav Yosef and Rabbi Akiva, who don't like his negotiating tactics, listen to their words. It's very interesting. They say he should have said, Iboy Lemeimar le, he should have said to him, Lishavkinu hada zimna, to leave us this time. What do you mean leave us this time? Leave! Go away! What do you mean leave us this time? The issue is, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is not trying to save them now. He's trying to save them tomorrow. Because he sees very far. Because he's Adam Mefache Tamid. Anyway, hopefully this will be the last time that that Tisha B'Av is sad. And see you tomorrow at noon, God willing, from the yeshiva. Peace and love.